As news about Celine Dion's illness continues to worry fans around the world, another important question has started to surface. Who is her oldest son, Rene-Charles Angelil? And why has the internet become so curious, and at times confused, about him? While Celine's life has always played out on the global stage, Rene-Charles has mostly stayed out of the spotlight. Yet behind that privacy are years marked by personal loss, public criticism, and the heavy weight of being the child of a superstar. So what is the real story of Celine Dion's eldest son? Let's take a closer look. Over the years, Celine Dion has built her world around her three sons, Rene-Charles Angelil, Nelson, and Eddie. Despite global fame, sold-out tours, and countless awards, she has always insisted that motherhood is her true identity. In a 2007 interview with People, she made it clear. Her greatest role wasn't being a superstar, it was being a mom. Music, she said, was something she could take risks with. Her family was not. Nelson and Eddie are still growing up largely away from intense public scrutiny. But Rene-Charles, born in 2001 and named after his father, Rene Angelil, has lived much of his life under a spotlight he never asked for. As the eldest son of one of the most celebrated voices in history, expectations were automatic. Privilege came with pressure. Attention came with judgment. Over the years, he has faced constant criticism, sometimes simply for being Celine Dion's son. Then came the devastating loss of his father. Years later, his mother's shocking health diagnosis added another emotional weight. While many see glamour when they look at this family, Rene-Charles's journey has been shaped just as much by grief, scrutiny, and responsibility as by fame. All about Rene-Charles. Rene-Charles Angelil was born on January 25, 2001 in Loxahatchee, Florida, weighing 6 pounds, 8 ounces. He was named after his father, Rene Angelil, a tribute that reflected just how deeply his parents valued family. Celine Dion was 32 when she welcomed her first child after undergoing in vitro fertilization, while Rene was 59. After years of longing to become parents, they often described his arrival as nothing short of a blessing. Celine would later call him her miracle child. Motherhood changed her in ways even global superstardom never could. In a 2006 interview with People, when Rene-Charles was 5, she spoke openly about how much she cherished everyday moments. "It relaxes me to read stories to him, do finger painting, play with Play-Doh," she said. "I think people have a hard time imagining I can have a normal life, but I do." For Celine, bedtime routines meant more than sold-out arenas. That desire for stability influenced major career decisions. After nearly 2 decades of constant touring, she launched her first Las Vegas residency at Caesars Palace in March 2003, which ran through December 2007. The move wasn't just strategic, and it was personal. "I am a full-time mom. That's my priority. Then I go and sing a few songs at night," she told People. Las Vegas gave her a rare balance. Superstar on stage, mom at home. Still, blending those worlds wasn't always easy. She admitted there was one show that left her especially nervous, the night her son sat in the audience. "It was the only time I felt nauseous before a show," she said. "My son was going to be there looking at me as a performer and not as a mom reading stories at bedtime." It was a reminder that no matter how powerful her voice, the opinion that mattered most belonged to her child. As he grew older, Rene-Charles developed interests far from the spotlight. Celine shared in 2015 that her then 14-year-old was very athletic, with a passion for golf and hockey. Years later, she was spotted in the stands at one of his hockey games in Terrebonne, Quebec, proudly wearing a jersey with Angelil on the back, cheering, dancing, and blending in with other parents. Rene-Charles Angelil's father died shortly before his birthday. Tragedy changed everything for Celine Dion and her children when her husband, Rene Angelil, passed away after a long battle with throat cancer. In January 2016, a representative confirmed the heartbreaking news, stating, Rene Angelil, 73, passed away this morning at his home in Las Vegas after a long and courageous battle against cancer. The family requests that their privacy be respected at the moment. The timing made the loss even more painful. Rene Angelil died on January 14, 2016, just 11 days before his eldest son's birthday. Rene-Charles Angelil, born January 25, 2001, had been preparing to turn 15. Instead of celebrating, he found himself preparing to say goodbye to his father. At the funeral, Rene-Charles did something few teenagers could imagine doing. He delivered the eulogy. Speaking with maturity beyond his years, he said, 15 years is not a long time for a son to get to know his father. You left me now with enough good memories of you to share with my younger brothers. His words reflected not just grief, but responsibility. He promised to step up for his twin brothers, Nelson and Eddie, vowing, as they grow older, without you being around, I'll make sure to pass on what I've learned from you. You are a tough act to follow, but with your help, everything's gonna be fine. Dad, I promise you here that we're all going to live up to your standards. Rene-Charles felt he couldn't tell his mom about his music project. There's no question that Celine Dion is one of the most powerful voices in modern music. Naturally, when she became a mother, many wondered whether any of that talent would pass down to her children, especially to her eldest, Rene-Charles Angelil. In 2018, Rene-Charles quietly stepped into music on his own terms. Using a now-deleted SoundCloud account, he released 2 R&B and rap tracks. Without any promotion tied to his famous last name, the songs climbed to number 1 and number 2 on SoundCloud's R&B and Soul New and Hot chart. What surprised many even more was that Celine didn't know he had been working on the music at all. In an interview with the Montreal Gazette, Rene-Charles admitted he had kept it from her because of the pressure that comes with being her son. It's kind of messed up, honestly, he said. I played it to her for the first time Wednesday. I just felt like keeping it on the low, but she loved it. He made it clear that he wasn't trying to capitalize on his mother's influence. I wanted to prove to myself that I'm able to do it, not just because my mom is who my mom is. Still, even as he tried to carve out his own identity, criticism followed. Rene-Charles is under constant scrutiny. Growing up as the son of Celine Dion may sound glamorous, but for Rene-Charles Angelil, it has often meant living under a microscope. Being labeled a Nepo baby comes with constant comparisons and constant judgment. No matter what he does, many critics measure him against one of the most celebrated voices in music history. A quick look at his Instagram page, where he posts under his stage name, shows how harsh that scrutiny can be. Comment sections have filled with strangers questioning his talent, his ambition, and even his worth. Some have bluntly asked whether he has any real talent, or if he'll always remain in his mother's shadow. Others have accused him of simply living off her success. The criticism hasn't just come from anonymous users online. Media outlets have joined in as well. In 2018, Vice published a piece that openly mocked his early music efforts, questioning whether he could ever live up to his mother's legacy. One line even warned him not to embarrass her. For a young artist trying to find his own voice, that kind of public dismissal can be difficult to ignore. It's possible that this steady wave of criticism played a role in his decision to step back from releasing music publicly. Rene-Charles fears what his mom's diagnosis will do. In December 2022, Celine Dion shared deeply emotional news in an Instagram video that stunned fans worldwide. She revealed she had been diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, a rare neurological disorder that causes severe muscle spasms. Fighting back tears, she explained that the condition was affecting her daily life, even her ability to perform. Unfortunately, these spasms affect every aspect of my daily life, she said, adding that they sometimes made it difficult to walk and prevented her from using her vocal cords the way she once could. As Dion stepped away from touring and public appearances, her eldest son, Rene-Charles Angelil, quietly stepped closer. When she made a rare and emotional appearance at the 2024 Grammy Awards, it was Rene-Charles who gently guided her onto the stage. The moment was powerful. A son supporting the mother who had once carried him through unimaginable grief after his father's passing. But behind that composed public image, the fear inside the family has been very real. In an interview with Australia's Sunrise, Dion admitted that her sons are deeply worried. "My kids are scared because they lost their dad. They're wondering if I'm going to die," she said candidly. For Rene-Charles and his younger brothers, Nelson and Eddie, their mother's diagnosis has reopened old wounds. After already losing their father to cancer, facing another uncertain health battle within the family has been emotionally overwhelming. Celine Dion's introverted son, Rene-Charles' selfless act revealed he did it for his mother. Celine Dion received a powerful standing ovation when she made her surprise appearance at the 2024 Grammy Awards. Walking arm in arm with her was her eldest son, Rene-Charles Angelil, a quiet but deeply meaningful presence on one of music's biggest nights. While the world focused on Celine's emotional return to the stage, those close to the family knew that Rene-Charles being there carried even more weight. According to Celine's sister, Claudette Dion, the moment was extraordinary. "When I saw her arm in arm with Rene-Charles, all confident with his little beard, it was totally crazy," she told Le Journal de Montréal. She explained that Rene-Charles is naturally introverted, someone who loves music but doesn't seek public attention. "We knew he did it especially for his mother," she said, adding, "He was looking after her, a real Rene Angelil." The comparison to his late father, Rene Angelil, who passed away from throat cancer in 2016, was not made lightly. In that quiet gesture, many saw a young man stepping into strength for his family. Celine shares Rene-Charles and twins Eddie and Nelson with her late husband. After struggling with fertility, she once called Rene-Charles her miracle child, conceived through IVF after years of hope and heartbreak. Over time, she has spoken openly about the trust she places in him. In a 2019 interview on ITV's Lorraine, she said, "I am giving him more space. I trust him." She admitted she may not always agree with every choice he makes, but as long as he uses his intelligence and his mind and brain, she supports him. Though Celine has stepped back from full-time performing after revealing her stiff person syndrome diagnosis in December 2022, fans are set to see more of her in the documentary I Am, Celine Dion. The 102-minute film, released on Amazon Prime Video on June 25, 2024, offers an intimate look at her battle with the rare neurological disorder. It also promises behind-the-scenes studio footage, glimpses of her couture touring wardrobe, and tender moments with her family. Described as an emotional, energetic, and poetic love letter to music, the documentary reflects not just her career, but the strength of the family standing beside her, especially her eldest son. Celine Dion and 3 sons send message to her husband Rene Angelil 10 years after his death. On January 14, 2026, Celine Dion marked 10 years since the death of her husband, Rene Angelil, and her message made it clear that time has not lessened the love. Rene passed away in 2016 at age 73 after a long battle with cancer, but for Celine, the loss still feels immediate. Mon amour, 10 years without you feels like just a day, and yet each day feels like a decade, she wrote on Instagram on January 14th, sharing a photo of Rene's portrait resting against a black piano. 10 years without your caress, and yet every day I feel your touch. The words were intimate, raw, and unmistakably personal. a widow still speaking to the man who shaped both her life and her career. The tribute also included a message from their three sons, Rene-Charles Angelil, now 25, and twins Nelson and Eddie, 15. "We miss you more than we can bear," they wrote. "But you taught us to be strong." They added, "We love you more, every day and every year." It was a reminder that Rene's absence is not just a chapter in Celine's story. It is something their children carry with them daily. Rene had been far more than a husband. He began managing Celine's career when she was just 12 years old, guiding her rise to international superstardom before they married in 1994. Their partnership was both romantic and professional, deeply intertwined. After his passing, Celine spoke openly about the complicated peace she felt. "I'm 48 years old, and I lost the love of my life," she told People in 2016. "I miss him a lot from when he was great, but not when he was suffering. I cannot be selfish. You have to let people go. I feel at peace." His final years had been marked by visible decline. In 2014, Celine canceled her Las Vegas residency to care for him. After his death, she stepped away from additional shows at Caesar's Palace to grieve. "You see your husband suffer for 3 years and it's not what you want to see," she said. "So now I know he is well, and we live with him in a different way. And I see him through the eyes of my children every single day." A decade later, the pain remains, but so does the devotion. For Celine Dion, love did not end in 2016. It simply changed form. That's a wrap for this video. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when the next video drops. See you next time.